I'm live now. I'm like always waiting for more people to join. I will be starting as in when we have at least 100 people. So if you all can hear me, please drop a thumbs up if you can hear me very clearly, because yeah, so people have started to drop thumbs up. So I hope all of you are able to hear me. So alright guys, welcome back to The Logical Indian. My name is Apurva Srivastav, and I have a very special guest today. She is Miss Neha Dwivedi, who is the author of Vijayant at Kargil. It's a book published by Penguin India, and before I add her, I would like to thank Penguin Publication for collaborating with The Logical Indian for this video. Alright Neha, if you are able to hear me, please send me a request. Yes, she is here. Neha will be telling us more about the video that the book that has been released. Hi Neha,
Hi, Apurva. How are you?
I am good. Neha, how are you?
Can you hear me properly?
I can hear you. Are you able to hear me?
I'm able to hear you well. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, welcome to the Logical Indian.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this with us.
Also, congratulations for your book, first of all.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a great honor to be able to talk about the book that you have written. It's very important for a very important person. So I will, give it to you that you tell us about Vijayant at Kargil a little bit before we start to talk about, who that person was and his story and all that.
So, thank you, Apurva. Vijayant at Kargil is the biography of a Kargil war martyr. The special thing is that Vijayant, or how he was fondly known as Robin, was just 22 years old when he got martyred in the Kargil war. And the thing to understand is one of the most special things about him is his last letter that he wrote. And in that last letter, he wrote very clearly how he has no regrets of not being able to get back home, and how even if he takes birth again, he will make sure that he joins the Indian Army. And that kind of emotion coming from a 22-year-old young boy, where in this day and age, you don't even think that is something that, boys as young as that even think about, right? I mean, they're more concerned about how their, life is going, what new clothes they're wearing, what new gadgets they have. But you don't think that they will really care so much about, doing so much for the country or laying their life down and be so focused and so clear in their thought. But Robin was, and that's what, uh, sets him apart from the other people his age.
I actually read that letter, and I have to say that it's a very, very moving letter. And I also would like to request all of our, audience today, if you get a chance, you should at least go and watch. Read that letter before you read the book.
And that
So
letter
yeah,
is
that
in
is
the book also.
yeah, it's a very emotional letter, and that brings me to Vijay's father, who has also co-written the book with you.
Absolutely.
Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about him as well?
Yeah. So Vijay's father, Colonel V.N. Thapar, is also an ex-army officer. In fact, Vijay was the fourth generation army officer from his family. And his father was also an infantryman. And right after, his son attained martyrdom in 1999, that was also the year that Colonel V.N. Thapar took retirement. From then till now, every day they have just spent in trying to conserve his memory. They have made sure that, he's alive in their memories, in their conversations, in their way of life. And one of the very special and, in fact, well-known things about him is that every year, because in the letter, Robin had asked him to come and see where the army had fought for their tomorrow. And so every year he makes this pilgrimage to, Kargil, and where he was, to Naul. So now he's also, with age, it's a little difficult to go all the way up, but he has been doing that since until the last few years. He still goes to Kargil at least, and, till the base, and he sees everything, and that's amazing. And he also provides financial aid to a small girl called Ruxana, who's now, a young girl. That time was almost just 2 to 3 years old, and Robin had asked his family to take care of Ruxana, and they continue to uphold his promise to her. And they've been giving her financial aid all these years after 1999 till date.
Absolutely.
That is actually, that is again very heartwarming. So, Neha, can you talk also about your journey with the book, given that you are yourself the daughter of a martyr army personnel?
Yes. So Apurva, I'm also an army officer's daughter, and my father also got martyred in the Kargil war as well. And so we had known Colonel Thapar's family since ages, since almost the first time that it happened, since 1999, because, you know, it's almost like a community. All the martyrs' families, they look out for each other, they visit each other. So everybody knows everybody. So writing was something that I used to, you know, do as a hobby. I'm a doctor by profession otherwise. And earlier I used to do it. And, you know, after the 2016 trip that we took to the Kargil War Memorial, after that, I started having this kind of feeling to write more about our experiences. I felt like, you know, people who haven't been around 99, and, you know, now who were probably kids then, or who's the youth of the country today, they have no idea of the kind of time that we went through or the kind of times we saw. In fact, people my age as well, because, you know, not everybody's life is getting affected personally, and you can't blame them, you know, because you see things from a, you know, distance, and you don't really see, and you don't get affected, so you don't see it. But I felt like, you know, this is not right. We should know, you know, everybody should know the kind of price that has been paid for the freedom that we enjoy today. So that is when I had approached Penguin for something, and, you know, that really didn't work out till now. And then, but and I also, there were lots of personal reasons. I also hurt myself, and I just couldn't at that time, you know, go ahead with it. Now then, in last year, when Colonel Thapar approached Penguin to come out with the biography, the my editor, Roshni, she contacted me again on email, and honestly, I was ecstatic to receive it, because you know, I'm very passionate about the stories of our real war heroes. In fact, my sister's also written a book about Kargil war heroes, and it's we they're very passionate about wanting to tell these stories and get these stories out in the open, so that, you know, to make them as inspirational as they can be, because they already are. You don't even have to make that much of an effort for it. So I was very happy to get that opportunity. My only thing was, I wanted to do complete justice to it. So I wanted to make sure that all aspects of Robin's life should come to light in the book. So while through the years we've heard a lot about, you know, his bravery and the operation that happened, and how, you know, he took the bullet right on his head, and about Roxana and his last letter. But what about what Robin was as a young kid going to school, or as a kid going to college, or how was he as a brother, or as a friend, or as a cousin? So these were the aspects that I really wanted to, you know, combine, and that's what I did also. Like when I got on board, I made a list of people that I would like to speak to. I researched, I traveled, I met a lot of people, his classmates, his regiment people, friends, and all others, and try to get like a holistic, like a, you know, you when you read the book, you would be able to feel as if you can probably you knew him, and that's what the aim was.
Right. So, Neha, what happens is generally we see that even what happened recently between India and China. So people lose lives and they just are reduced to mere news pieces. And
Yeah.
we're not able to really get down and know that the sacrifice didn't just consist of a body, but there's a whole lot of things that goes behind. The family has to suffer for the entire life and all those kind of stories. So I think your book is also very important because actually it's like a laying down in in the life of a martyr, in the life of people who have been directly affected. So how was your again, like you being the daughter of a martyr, how has life been, how has
You know,
your journey been?
so what you said right now is very relevant. Anytime that someone dies in the line of duty, he or she just becomes a name in news, right? And that name also has a shelf life. It doesn't really last for too long, and pretty soon you just, you know, that something else happens, and you get distracted, and everything gets forgotten, and nobody after some time even knows. For those 2 days, probably everybody would remember the name of the hero who laid down his life, and, you know. But after that, it's only the family or the friend circle that's left with, the whole feeling of having to move on with their lives with that vacuum and loss left behind. For example, you said like how it happened in Galwan. There were 20 of the officers and men, right? We won't even know all of them. Okay, we won't even know their names, and we will even forget it, because there's this whole idea about people wear the uniform for this only. But you see, how if a celebrity dies, you remember that loss feels personal. Why? Because you know their story. Yeah, you know which city he comes from or she comes from. You know where, whose friends they were, who's who what girlfriend they had, or what were they doing in life. That entire story is always visible in front of you, because we think of them as our heroes, so we take that active interest in their lives. But that doesn't happen with all our real heroes, who actually who actually go and lose their lives, right? And they do it proudly. They say that they'll want to do it again if they want to. So if they could. So why don't we talk about these stories? Why? And why not tell the reader or whoever's watching the story of these heroes or these martyrs? And that should stay with you. So the next time when you hear a story like that, you realize that it's not just that one person going away or dying or getting martyred. It's about the entire life, and people around them that will take or live with that loss for the rest of their life. Their lives have changed, just because you don't feel it as personally, because you didn't know that person. And I used to say this, Beach I used to say this a lot. I used to say that just because you didn't know him, you think you didn't owe him, right? But you do,
Absolutely, yes.
right? But the fact of the matter is that you do, right? In fact, you owe more to him than to anyone else, than to an actor or any other celebrity. The death in any form for anybody is definitely sad. I'm not trying to undermine that, but I'm just saying that the kind of stardom or the heroism that they deserve often leaves them. So if you ask me, of course, when it happened in 99, everyone wanted to know so much, and people will talk about, would ask about your father, will get to know, their expressions used to change. From there till now, right now, if you become that person, if you talk about something that is relevant to them, you're great. If you don't, they will not think twice about saying something about your father also, who's not even there anymore. So that becomes, that's a little unfortunate, sad. So I think if we talk more about these stories, the stories of our heroes, the stories of our martyrs, they will be more relatable to everybody here. I mean, we can't blame them to not be able to relate to them when we are not giving them anything. So this is a little bit of an effort to make sure that our heroes are also spoken about, talked about in a way that we do with the others, in a manner that you understand them too, you relate to, your part of their stories as well. And hopefully, if we are able to achieve that with a little bit of these books or talking about them. We often write, my sister also writes a lot about it. So every time something happens, we keep trying to create some kind of an awareness about their families as well, because they're the ones whose wars are going to start now while the war on the front has ended. So yeah, that it was pretty cathartic to write it as well. Being from a family of a Kargil war martyr, you kind of live it again. You live the whole time again. You think of those dates and you think, "Acha, ye us time ye hua tha." Interestingly, between Captain Vijay Thapar and my father's martyrdom day, there's just a difference of 4 days. So you're thinking, okay, by this time we spoke to him for the last time on 30th June 99, and unfortunately Robin got martyred on 29th June 99. So everything is so attached and so connected. So it's a little hard, definitely, but it is worth it.
Yes. So talking about the emotions, of course, Neha, that you would understand, I guess, more than anyone else. So I think the gravity of sacrifice. Do you think that when people are mongering for, war, and they are crying war and wanting to go to war and killing, and do you think that they undermine the gravity of sacrifice that even one life lost can create in someone's life? Do you think it's important for people to understand before they actually cry out for war?
Definitely. So I would say that I'm in the middle of this argument. Okay, why I say that I'm in the middle of this argument is that, of course, it happens very often, especially in our country, because we're used to this. We are used to saying, Indian Army will do everything, and definitely Indian Army will do everything. Indian Army is one of the strongest armies that we have, and they have a very rigorous training schedule, and they are really capable. But just because they're capable, that doesn't mean that you put them in the line of threat whenever that you want to. It doesn't mean that for you it's just like you think it's a war game, or it's an ego game, or just proving your worth or proving your country's worth, but at what cost? So I do think, why I say I'm in the middle, because there are certain times that I also feel that this wasn't done. This isn't done, and we need to, do something significant enough to make sure more of this doesn't happen. That's for sure as well, right? But as often as we see in our country, people just getting up and trying to say that warmongering, like you said, trying to say that, okay, put everyone to, let's go to war, send people to Pakistan. I think that these things are very, very, uninformed. You can't just say it at the drop of a hat that the army should, or the country should go to war, because if the country was to go to war, it isn't you, or it isn't like the people who are asking for. Normally, most often you will see it is the people whose families are neither serving nor have they served, saying these things, because they probably don't really realize the cost of that war for them. 20 people is what? It's 20 people. बस भी गिर जाती है तो उसमें 20 लोग मर जाते हैं. It is not the same. बस गिर जाती है बीच में, that's an accident. And here, doing things on duty, they're at work. They're choosing to be at that same place of work, and when they go away, it's not just those 20 lives that have gone. It is the lives of probably 20 into 4, if you think of at least 4 people attached to every one person. About 80 lives that get so affected. You don't know how difficult it could be after that. Someone's parents may be dependent on their son, someone's wife and kids may be dependent on, someone may just have a sibling dependent on them, and it gets very, very difficult. So it's very easy to say a lot of things. I am very open to all kinds of discussions when they're coming from a place of proper knowledge about the thing, when there is no other way, for sure. For sure, that is what the army is for. 100%, they're there to defend the nation. But defense means defense also. Defense doesn't mean that at the drop of a hat you just start, mongering for it, and just try and start pushing people to go and, fight it out and just give their lives, because they will not think before doing that. An army person will not think, because it's in his blood. He's gone. He's trained so well. He's trained for all of that. And when he goes, he doesn't think about his family. He thinks about his country, and he will very happily, with a smile on his face, take a bullet for his country. But are you sure that you want to push him to do that? That's not
So
fair.
the responsibility does, yes, that's absolutely not fair. So I think war should be the last resort of solving any kind of, problem between
Yes,
the two
absolutely.
countries.
Absolutely. Yes. So,
Right.
I mean, it's obvious. And then they say, then what will the army do? Army is doing its job. They have, how many times do you call for the army for so many things around you? There are so many times that army ko to aap tabhi bhi use karte hain jab bridges gir jate hain, right? And they do it. So, let's not have this discussion. What is it for? What is it about? And, if they will not do this. And I always say this, and I've heard it a lot of times, that an army person lives, gets paid to die, or
Yeah.
so I always say this: they don't get paid to die; they get paid to protect you. They don't get paid to die, because if you were to pay to die, you will not be able to pay anyone nearly enough. Okay, not an army personnel, not even a doctor who's going to protect all or treat all the COVID patients today. So to think that you can pay someone to die is just, this thought process is something that should just go away.
Yeah, right. I mean, it doesn't matter how much money I am given. Probably I won't have that courage to go and take a bullet. So it
Absolutely.
is really not about the money or the payment that is received, and that absolutely cannot be an excuse for people to simply put them, in the line of, in the front line, just for
Yeah.
the sake of it,
Yeah.
while there
Absolutely.
could be other options.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not saying they're going to turn away from doing it. They will definitely do it if the situation demands it. But we don't have to keep demanding it. So that's
Right.
yeah.
Right. So Neha, when we look at things happening around, and the trivial things that people get into, they quarrel based on, I don't know, on communal basis or other things, and the way that things are around. I really don't want to name each and everything, but that kind of makes you introspect whether we as Indians are worthy enough to be fought for. How do you think, Indians or people in general can make themselves worthy citizens to be fought for by the army, if at all?
So just by being like a good citizen, right? I'm not saying not everybody can join the army, and protect the country, but everybody has their own job. Everybody has. So if you will read the book and if you will read the story of Robin, if you will read the story of Robin, you will realize that he was somebody who always just wanted to, do his best. Yeah, he always wanted to do his best at what he was doing, and he kept pushing himself to do that, right? So his story is not just about valor and courage, which definitely it is. He was a very valiant and a very courageous guy, but he was also really determined. He was also very resilient. Okay, so he never did anything wrong. Just be a good citizen. Perform your duties with utmost sincerity, with utmost honesty. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, so that makes you a good citizen. If you're the kind of citizen who stays, who just breaks all rules and doesn't follow the law, doesn't do anything, then you're not being a citizen worth fighting for. So you don't have to be in the army to do that only, but you could be in whatever professions you are, like you are, or there are writers, or there are people, anybody who is someone who cleans the streets also. If he just does it to the best of their ability, that's the kind of citizen that one wants to fight for. That's the kind of citizen that even Robin wanted to fight for. Yeah. So
Right.
taking care of a person like Ruxana, 2-year-old little girl like Ruxana, that's her. For him, it's another person, right? It's not just about communal agendas or any of those things.
So Neha, before I move forward with this conversation, I want you to once show the books and tell
Yeah.
everyone where this book can be purchased from.
So this is the book. It's called Vijayant at Kargil, and it is co-authored by Colonel Thapar and me. And this is you can find it on Amazon and other e-commerce sites, and you can also find it in the bookstores in Delhi. So it's available in Bahari Sons, and in fact, just today I went to Khan Market, Bahari Sons, and I've even signed some copies. So today is also Robin's martyrdom day. He got martyred on 29th June 1999, and so they can all find it there, or they can find it on Amazon, and you won't really have it in any other bookstores all over the country right now. They're only available in Delhi bookstores, but otherwise, if you want to order it, you can order it and it can get delivered by Amazon all over the country. Even abroad, by the way. I've had, so the e-versions are available. E-versions came out a while back, and a lot of my friends and family outside abroad have, ordered and read it already.
I'm actually very excited to read this book. I'm definitely going to
Yes, I
order
would
this
like
book
you to read
today.
it and tell me what you thought about that book.
I will try to write a whole review about it. I'm saying that on a live video today.
Oh, how
So I
nice,
will
Apurva.
definitely
I'll wait for it. I'll wait for
I will
it.
definitely do that, Neha, because I think this book deserves it. I'm not just saying for the sake of it, but I think Vigilance. I mean, this is the least I can do to, as my contribution, in the veneration that I have for people who, lay their life for us.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's so nice to hear you say that.
Okay, so Neha, I also given that the journey that you've had, I want to understand your idea of nationalism and patriotism.
Okay, great question. So, my idea of nationality, like I said, actually, I already kind of answered it, because my idea of being a good, patriotic citizen of any country for that matter depends on how you are as a person towards your own country. And you make sure that, you don't do, it's like, I'll tell you with an example. It's how do we keep up our parents' name. We brought up like that in India, that you don't have to do anything to make sure that you embarrass your parents, or you bring their name down, so to speak, right? So that's why we are well behaved, and we work hard in our lives. We get into good places, or you study enough to be able to, stand on our feet or do other creative work or whatever it is that we can, right? Just to be able to grow. So think of your country as the same. Think of your country as your family, and do the things that will make your country proud of you, right? So it doesn't really so that's patriotism for me. That's a national, like I said, for me, a person who just sweeps the road every day to the best of his ability, and doesn't take any. But let's say there's another person who just sweeps it, takes bribe for it, sweeps takes bribe and sweeps the one portion better and doesn't sweep the other portion better. I mean, that for me would again be a way of kind of cheating, right? So don't do that. Try and do the things that if you think of your nation as your mother, would be proud of you. So that's my idea of being a nationalist or a patriotic.
Right. So I think a lot of people have gotten confused about, patriotism simply being, hating on other countries for the sake of it, and
Yeah.
not really critically thinking about, how constructive we can make the whole idea of nationalism, so to say.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. So I don't think that's a part of it. Like, I don't think that you love your own country more by hating any other country. Definitely calling out is important. Definitely calling out things that you think are unfair and are not happening correctly. They are important. But, you don't have to hate on anyone else to be proud of your own self, right? And I don't think that's important. And I'm not saying definitely if there are things happen as an individual, I also get really disturbed and affected if I feel that something very uncalled for happened, and people in our country were attacked for, let's say, unprovoked reasons. And then definitely, you calling it out is one thing. Speaking your mind or your opinion about something is one thing, but to kind of push like a hate propaganda is completely different, and no one becomes more of a patriotic by being that.
Right. So, Neha, do you also, there's one thing I wanted you to address
Yeah.
is the fact that suppose me as a citizen, or anyone else for that matter as a citizen, if they are trying to, call out stuff that may not be right with their own country, and things that are not going fine, and not really sweeping all the things that are not right under the carpet, and like really talking about it, identifying all the problems. Do
Mm.
you think such people should be called anti-nationals, or or their love for the country should be uh, sort of tested or doubted?
I mean, we stay in a really large country with a large population, right? 1.3 billion population. You cannot really kind of supervise or manufacture everybody's behavior and everybody's thought process. And you cannot think that, everybody has to be thinking in the same process, in the same way. That is a bit of a, unfair kind of an expectation to have. Everybody has their own ways of thinking or their own thought process, their own opinions about things. And you know uh, every now and then you hear something that you may not agree with, but as a citizen, what I mean is that if I end up saying something that you do not agree with, I'm very happy to discuss it. I'm happy to be called out, and I'm happy to talk about it. Okay, or I'm happy to be even corrected, but not in an aggressive manner, not by threatening me, not by threatening the person who's, because honestly, you're not even achieving anything with that. Threatening anybody or going against anybody in a violent manner, nobody achieves anything. If you think that a so-called anti-nationalist can be threatened into being a so-called nationalist according to your definition, that will never be achieved, right? If you want to achieve that, you have to reason with the person rather than cornering the person into believing something that you want to. So that's what is important.
All right. Neha, what are your favorite books? I mean, mine is, I read this book by on nationalism by Rabindranath Tagore. It's called Gore Baire, The Home and the World. And that is one of the best. And that is the book that actually shaped my idea of, nationalism and patriotism and all of those things. What is your, what has been your favorite books or authors who've actually, you know, who made you understand, and again, compare and contrast that with your own life's experiences and all those things?
Honestly, I don't really go by a definite genres to kind of teach my. I read for a lot of reasons. One of the biggest reasons I read for my own interest, my own recreation, and uh, every once in a while I'm very interested in something. So biographies are actually an area of interest for me. For a long time, I like to read things that have really happened. I do read a lot of fiction as well, but I like to read things that have really happened, in somebody's life. And I feel life stories of people, things that have really happened, they can really make you learn, right? They can be a big learning, experience for you. So I've always been a big fan of biographies. So and especially about what, honestly, after 19, I was 12 when Operation Vijay happened. So when that happened, after that, I was in this phase that I would read everything about Operation Vijay, whatever I would understand, I would read it. So there's a lovely book called A Soldier's Diary by Harinder Biveja about the Kargil War. So I read that. I really love my sister's book as well called Letters from Kargil, because that gives you an insight into, a soldier's mind and heart through his own words, because they're the letters, they're his own letters. I like the kind of books that give you an insight into the heart of the person you're reading about, or the family, or whatever it is that you're reading about. I like that more. So I tend to, these days I'm reading a book called The Blood Telegram. So I like to. It's all about 1971 and the liberation of Bangladesh. So it's nice. I've recently started finding the history very fascinating, and I think it definitely helps all of us to know more about, it definitely helps us have a better opinion also about lots of things. So if you really are interested, and if you really are somebody who wants to have this big opinion on so many things, read and try and educate yourself.
Yeah, I think an opinion which comes from the place of education is always more evolved. It's more, it
Absolutely.
comes from a better understanding. Before you
Yeah.
just like out of vehemence, or out of just anger or something that's nursing in your heart, if you come with an opinion, probably that may not be constructive. But I think if you come from a place of education, a lot of if you know the stories, like for example, if people are able to read your book, then they
Yeah.
will really understand him as a person.
Yeah.
And probably that may change their idea of sacrifice, their idea of what a soldier goes through when they are
Absolutely.
giving their life.
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of people, after reading the book, wrote in saying that the story of Robin made me feel like he could just be me, and yet he was so different because he did all of this. He had so much, spirit in him to do it, and he was so driven. And how was he so driven? So those questions, how is a 22-year-old so driven to go ahead and unflinchingly give his life, right? You would think that don't you think that he would be scared? Of course he would be scared. Fear, of course, fear is a human emotion. Fear happens, fear stays in everyone. But true courage is not the absence of fear. True courage is to take that step despite the presence of fear. And that's what sets people apart from the others, and their stories are the ones that can inspire you. And it's some stories are really these days I'm also reading a book. In fact, it's a book by Penguin only, called The Barefoot Surgeon. It's about a surgeon that just made sure that he does these really inexpensive eye surgeries, and corrected a lot of blindness in a lot of countries. Actually, he went to a lot of countries also. So I like these stories. I like to understand what drives these people. What drives these people to leave the comforts of their homes or their happy jobs, or nice comfortable jobs, and go ahead and do these things for others. And that really inspires me. So yeah.
Yeah, why I'm always big advocate of reading stories and knowing people the way that they are, and not just the highlight of them, and like really getting into and knowing their book, like the biography that you have written, is because it comes from my own experience also, because I come from a background where people are not really from army. And I don't really know anyone in around me who is as I was growing, nobody was really from the army. We just got whatever we got from the news, right?
Absolutely.
And I remember I was really tiny when War was going on, and all I knew is that we need to kill. That's all. That was my idea of loving my country. And my brother and I used to simply go up on the terrace, and we used to take our wooden, this like our fake guns and wooden guns, and we used to sit and we used to say that if anything flies on over us, we are going to kill that. So, this is when
Yeah.
in retrospect, I think that, well, this is a genesis of when people start to build a certain idea about things without really knowing. It comes also, I think, from the place of a lot of innocence, you would say, but then it can shape into something that is probably not that healthy. So, which is why I really, really encourage people to read stories, and which is why today, once again, I would encourage all our viewers to actually buy this book. Can you show this book once again? And read it. Get to know these people, the stories of these people.
Yeah.
So definitely, once more, Neha, if you can tell us before I wrap this, where can we get this book and a little bit about it? Yes.
It's as it says, it's the biography of a war hero, of a Kargil war hero who was as young as 22 years old when he laid his life down bravely in the line of duty. You can find this book on Amazon or other e-commerce sites as well, all over India. And you can also find them in some bookstores in Delhi, particularly Bahari Sons, because I went there today and I have some signed copies that I've left there in Khan Market. And it should slowly also keep coming up in other bookstores also. I will keep putting it up whenever we get to know. I'm sure Penguin will as well. And the Kindle versions also came out a while earlier, so those are also available, and the Kindle versions are available all over, even if you're not in India.
All right, Neha. So before I end this video, once again, thank you so much for joining the Logical Indian. Thanks to Penguin India for collaborating for this video. And yeah.
Someone said name of the book once more, please. So I'm just putting it up again. The name of the book is Vijayant at Kargil, the biography of a war hero.
Guys, you can go ahead and take a screenshot of this.
Yes, please.
And look for this book on Amazon and read it and write to us, write to Neha. We will try to reshare your stories and what you thought about the book.
Yes.
Ouch.
That would be great. And I would wait for your review as well, Apurva. You've promised.
I will. Live. I've said that on a live video, so I will.
Yes, you
for
have
sure.
To. I will wait for it.
I will. I'm going to order the book today, and then I'll read it, and then I'll definitely write a review for sure, Neha.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was so great.
This was definitely great. Thank you so much, Neha. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. Bye, Apurva.
Bye. All right, so that was Neha Dwivedi, author of Vijayant at Kargil. I really encourage all of you guys to go ahead, buy that book. The book is by Penguin India. Thanks to Penguin India once more for collaborating with the Logical Indian for this video. And yes, until then, subscribe to the Logical Indian. Take care of yourselves. Keep introspecting, keep educating yourself, keep reading, and keep writing to us. See ya.